Hello everyone, and welcome to Night City Sofa, a Cyberpunk RED talk show. Tonight, I am joined by fellow Caesar Seth cast members, Giffy.
Howdy.
Games.
Oh hi, I'm Games.
And Blank.
Why, hello there.
During this episode of Night City Sofa, we are going to talk about the latest Cyberpunk RED DLC, Going Quiet. Tools for heists, cons, and other stealth play. You can find this DLC and all other Cyberpunk RED DLCs at rtalsoriangames.com/downloadable-content. That is still the link. That may change in the near future, but for now, that's where you can still go to pick up your DLCs. The link is in the video description. Or of course, if you would like, you can go to drivethrurpg.com and download them all by year in a bundle. So first things first, as always, we're gonna... Well, I'll give a brief overview of the DLC and then we'll go into lore, which is my absolute favorite thing. Don't skip it, read the lore, always read the lore.
I guess.
So...
This is a big thing.
They spend a lot of time, and they make something really interesting.
As James Hutt said when we were talking to him about Yellow Magic Returns, if you don't read the lore, it's like eating the meat out of the sandwich. Like, you have to have all of it.
You're not supposed to do that?
You can, you're just missing out on the full experience if you don't. That's all.
What if you wrap your sandwich in salad instead of bread?
Sure. Then substitute it. Same thing.
I guess that would be reading part of the lore.
No, it's still lore. Anyway. So this DLC is written by Jay Gray and James Hutt. I'm just gonna ignore that. 7 pages with cover art by Richard Bagnell, capturing a scene from the lore we get at the start. After the lore story, the DLC is broken up into 3 different sections. Flash of Luck, which was a mechanic only previously released in Hope Reborn. So if you don't have Hope Reborn, you now get access to the Flash of Luck mechanic for free. Stealth Netrunning mechanics, and a bunch of new stealth gear, which is super, super cool. So before we get to the goods, we're going to talk about lore, whether it is bread-based or lettuce-based lore.
Okay.
Now I've got chat questions about what part of the DLC is the mayo, so thank you guys. Thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Those are the pictures and bumpers.
There you go. Half a page is dedicated to a story about a small stealth operation featuring a solo called Measure Twice, which I believe is a new NPC that we're being introduced to. And he's also the individual featured on the cover art. Measure Twice is working with our well-known media, 24/7 or Twofer, to plant a tracer on an unmarked drone that they can follow later to uncover its operator. And doing so will give Twofer the next link in his investigation about missing cargo. Now, this story and the investigation started back in November with the Did Someone Say Murder? I think it was November. No, November was the Scream Sheet. Somewhere late last quarter, Did Someone Say Murder DLC, where 24/7 was getting tips from Barry on his, they were in the middle of communication about missing cargo, how Barry's coworker had gotten killed, how there was this goop in the cargo container that needed to be massively cleaned, and then Barry just kind of went missing. This lore sadly confirms that Barry was flatlined while he was on the phone with 24/7.
I misspelled it, but it counts.
And I think this is a really great way of showcasing, how different parts of an investigation system, if you haven't looked at it, take a look at it, can lead to a much bigger story. And the fact that they continued this, and there was the whole phrase "Justice for Barry," I was super giddy, and I had the biggest smile on my face reading this lore bit. In continuation.
That was a big push for us.
It was. Justice for Barry was a huge thing on our Sofa episode. So it was great to see it brought back. We still don't know what's happening, and I'm hoping that we'll get, more of the story either in later DLCs or maybe in Edgerunner's Guide to Night City, since we know that they are written by the perspective of various medias. I'm guessing not, but you never know. I just want to see a continuation of the story. So wherever it is, doesn't matter.
Right.
We also are given a new drone, the Mark II Proctor. I don't believe that's anywhere that we've seen yet. Which is manufactured by Concept Mechanics exclusively for Ziggurat. Now, this model in the story lacks any branding, and while the Proctor isn't a drone we've seen, Concept Mechanics was introduced in Interface Red Volume 1 with their All About Drones section. Concept Mechanics produces personal drones that don't require net architecture and can be operated directly with an agent, and it is a wholly owned subsidiary of Militech. So this lore opens up, is this a Militech operation? Measure Twice gives a throwaway line about the Netrunner operating the drone being too occupied about the couple slamming in the building through the windows to notice him. But why is that drone watching them? Is that a new link? Is that the next victim? We don't know. So I'm very excited. If you want to check out personal drones. Oh, also a good reminder that drones can move across the city. You can operate them from across the city. You don't have to be within 6 meters.
Well, is that new to this?
Nope, that is in All About Drones.
Oh.
As long as the drone, so for example, the transporter, as long as you can give it a geolocation and it will travel to the location, either drop something off or pick something up and then bring it back to the agent.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it has CityNet access and as long as the agent has CityNet access, it can go anywhere within the city. So if you are directly controlling it, you can send it anywhere across the city. It's going to be $5,000 to get said drone. Or, you can steal one. You can plan a whole gig around it. Just saying. But drones can move across the days, and this is a really good reminder about that. And I believe that's it for lore. So I was very excited. There's lots of cool things you can do. And hopefully we'll get to see more about Twofer's investigation and get justice for Barry.
Hashtag justice for Barry.
Hashtag justice for
It's
Barry.
actually Justick is the hashtag.
I know. I misspelled that horribly because I wasn't looking at what I was doing. I was just so excited. And, Justick for Barry.
So, I don't know if there's anything you guys want to comment on the lore before we move on.
I was just super stoked when I read it. You know how I only skim the lore and kind of ignore it? I read what it says in case there's something I have to care about, but then move on quickly. This one I was invested in. So
Right? Hopefully we'll get to see more. Alright, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Giffy to talk about the Flash of Luck mechanic.
Alright, I am talking about Flash of Luck, in case you missed just saying it just 2 seconds ago. Interestingly enough, about a month ago, Jess brought up the Flash of Luck for the first time of me ever hearing about it, and when I first heard about it, I was kind of skeptical, because basically what Flash of Luck is it allows you to retcon an event or a purchase or something to get you out of a jam now. And I thought it was a way to break the game, and I wasn't overly fond of it. But after reading more about it in the Going Quiet DLC, I'm kind of on board. So how it explains it in the DLC is that sometimes planning a mission, an operation, can be boring. As you've noticed with some of our whole session planning sessions, it gets a little tedious. So what Flash of Luck really is for is so that you can get into the action quicker and you're not spending hours making sure you have planned for every single little detail. So So, for example,
And if I can interrupt for a second too, with Shades of Scarlet, Blake's a really great GM, where we tend to have to think of like multiple different avenues because he's definitely trapped multiple different avenues.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So yeah, and it sometimes you could be missing that one little piece that you wish you would have brought, that little component or wire or.
If only we had a grappling gun.
Yes. So okay, but see, what's cool about the flash flood mechanic is that they make it very kind of limited in what you can do. So there is a really cool table that kind of explains what you can kind of do with it, how much luck it costs. So the more unlikely a scenario that you're trying to retcon, the more luck it's going to cost, or the more you want to spend, the more luck it's going to cost. So if you're doing like something simple, like say in your last session you had gone to the market and you forgot to pick up incendiary ammo, for example, you could spend 2 luck and, you know, the eddies, you'd have to still spend the eddies, and you could get some incendiary ammo, assuming that the GM, of course, allows you. But say if you want to do something like really ridiculous, like the guard of the place that you're trying to break into happened to be your college roommate that you guys were extremely friendly with, you know, that's going to cost you a lot more luck, up to 8 luck for something that's like really unlikely. Or if you're wanting to get something that's worth a lot of money, like spending up to 1,000 eddies to get an item that really you shouldn't have, that's just going to require an insane amount of luck. And I know I've never had 8 luck before. I don't know if anybody would ever have it.
Anybody on our team even has it.
I'm the luck gremlin, and I have a 7.
Yeah, 8 is just insane. So to do something, so that's what I love about it, because, you know, if you want to make a character that's better lucky than good, you know, you can use this flash of luck mechanic to do outrageous things. But there's also another limitation. Not only is there the limitation on the amount of luck you have to spend, there's also the limitation on how many times you can use it. So you can only use it once per beat or 3 times per mission. You also, if you're trying to do something that requires a check, a skill check, you're going to have to do that. Like, say you decide you want to retcon that you broke into the security system before you entered the building. You still have to roll your security check, your electronic security check. If you fail it, you still spend the luck. You still use up that slot of flash of luck for the time. So it can be a very powerful tool, but there's also enough limitations on it that it doesn't break the game. So.
Well, and it goes a long way for helping with the planning paralysis. Like, you still have to plan and come up with a great idea, but just in case you get there and you're like, man, I know our characters would have bought like raccoon suits to be able to fly down from the top of this building, but we forgot to say we bought raccoon suits. Like, then you can just be like, well, okay, if I spend 8 luck and 1,000 EB, let's just say I bought raccoon suits. And then the GM's gonna be like, all right, you're gonna have to roll a barter for that, though.
Yeah.
You know me too well.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It you know, it all comes down to the GM's approval. So it has to be, if there's no way you can normally get a raccoon suit or a sniper rifle or whatever the item you're trying to get, the GM can say, I'm sorry, that's not an available item for you. And at that point, you don't spend the luck, you don't lose out the option of you don't use up that slot for future uses of Flash of Luck. It just, you don't do it. So ultimately it comes down to what the GM will allow you to do. But like Gabe said, it's so great for jumping quicker into the action without spending hours stressing over you forgot this one contingency. So, very helpful.
And I'm the king of forgetting one contingency.
We're like, hey, we were supposed to craft a website for my fake persona. Can I use Flash of Luck to craft a website for my fake persona?
Would have come in handy that one time, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that one time.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I probably would have let you do that if I'd known about the rule at that point. But I don't know. I'd be leery about what I allow and what I don't allow, because for me, a lot of the fun is watching you guys come up with a plan to tackle at least the view of the mission that I've given you up to that point, and then trying to, investigate and find out certain pieces. And I just think that aspect's cool, and I wouldn't want to lose that to just a half-cocked plan and a big luck pool.
For sure.
Yeah. Again, I don't think any of us have the luck pool to do that.
Not for the 8. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Although I do want to create a character that has 8 luck.
Just to abuse this?
Yeah, just like so I can walk into a situation completely unprepared and use Flash of Luck to do something.
But you only get it the one time.
That's it. And you'd have to succeed. It would be pretty badass.
Yeah, that's swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
I will
It's
say,
very dangerous.
LCC just put a really good point with the Headquarters DLC. You can increase your max luck, so even 2 luck dumpers can get to 4 and 8 can get to 10.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
If you
I
have
did
those
not know
2
that.
things. So, but I will say too, though, if you use this during a beat or a mission, because your luck only replenishes at the end of a session, you don't have that luck to spend then on anything else.
Right.
And for me, for a character who, uses luck to mitigate headshot aim penalties, am I going to risk half of it or most of it just to do this one thing, depending on what it is?
Well,
Probably
at
not.
least in the book, there's kind of an implication, at least, that a mission is kind of one session. So you'd have to also figure out what constitutes a mission. If yours lasts more than one session, which mine typically do.
Yeah.
Which
Pretty
is
sure
cool.
we're still on the
'cause
first mission.
Wait, what?
So I'm pretty sure we're still on the first mission.
Pretty sure you're right.
I think you might be right.
5 years in.
There's one overarching mission and a bunch of sub-missions. And then sub-missions.
And then tangents.
Yeah, and then whatever the hell we're
Mostly
doing
tangents, to be honest.
But yeah, it's a highly adaptable rule, so I mean it can fit any playstyle. Like Mike said, he likes to do planning. He loves the planning part, so he can adapt the Flash of Luck to be more strict so that the players will be forced to. But if there's if you're doing an action-oriented mission where you don't want to spend time on planning, you use Flash of Luck more. You can make it more liberal, more easy to use. So it's really cool. It's very adaptable.
And I will say, it's, even though these are rules as written, obviously I'm one of those players that's defer to your GM. GMs play around with this. I probably, when Wraith was in the car and absolutely did not look up information about the company he was going to infiltrate ahead of time. And then was I'm sure I would have done that in the car. I would have said, yeah, sure, Flash of Luck, give me the scene. It's going to cost you 1 point. I wouldn't have made it cost 2 because there's no cost associated with it. But I would have docked him a luck point if he wanted to have that information, and then still made him do a library search.
It's a valid point.
But I think for something like that, because there's no cost involved, I wouldn't have, made it worth 2. But I definitely would have had it cost 1. I don't know if Blank would have been kind enough when Moxie forgot to record a message before it got deleted to let me flash of luck say I recorded it, possibly with a, concentration skill check to remember, but
Professional journalist skill.
who was constantly recording everything at that time because of paranoia. It's nice to have moments where it's
you've
like,
done it in the past, I think you've developed enough habit that I think you can justify it. If it was Wraith, fuck no.
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 I've had a recorder since day 1. What have I recorded? Almost nothing.
To be fair, I also have a recorder, and I constantly for the longest time forgot to use it.
Yeah, I know, but you did try to remember sometime.
I did. Stu's been especially paranoid now. But I like it as a safety net, especially for things where it's like, we talked about this, like the website, we talked about it, that was part of the plan, it wasn't something new. But also, for that random 8 luck, yeah, absolutely. Try to do something crazy. Good luck.
Jesus Crust says, yeah, per usual, these are guidelines. Expand upon them as you see fit. Always trust your GM when they introduce something that doesn't keep to raw perfectly.
Yep.
Totally agree.
Yeah, but be cautious about trusting your GM.
I'm on your side, believe it or not.
I just want you to struggle for
we
it.
just like to give you a hard time.
Yeah.
I think that's my job.
It's nice to see that you came around to the mechanics after reading them.
Yeah. I really, it definitely has a place, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It has a place.
Was there anything else we want to talk about for Flash of Luck, or shall we move on?
I feel like I've talked too much already, so I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, I feel like we could probably move on.
Okay. I will say, LCC, that might have been the most accurate description of a player-GM relationship, which it is. GMs and players are like humans and dogs playing tug of war. The human has to pull a reasonable amount to keep it interesting. Otherwise, it isn't fun.
Right.
And I feel that's super accurate.
Totally agree.
Or when I'm arm wrestling with my kids and I have to, like, help them.
Just a little bit. Okay, so next up is a stealth net running, which I know a lot of people are super excited for. Because there were
hard as fuck.
Sorry?
It seems hard as fuck to do, but
it's actually, hopefully when I showcase this, it'll make a lot of sense, and we'll see how it goes. I've seen a lot of questions about people ask, can I stealth from enemy netrunners, so I'm very glad that these mechanics finally got added into a DLC.
yeah, I think this was needed. Very needed.
Super needed. Yeah.
So, because I learn best by seeing and doing, I've put together a very simple net run using a net arc from, I think, the core rulebook somewhere. From the core rulebook somewhere, one of the scrim sheets. I can't remember which one. Blank, Giffy, and Games are going to be rolling the dice for me while I explain.
Nice.
Blank is going to be rolling for our netrunner.
Okay.
Oops. I just hid the wrong thing. There we go. Alright. And Games and Giffy will roll for obstacles as we encounter them.
Cool.
We're going to pretend we are rank 4 netrunner. So at rank 4 you get 3 net actions per turn. I'm going to assume we've already scanned for a node previously and that did not count as part of this initiative. So of course, and we're gonna do a basic net run first, just so we can see how it works differently. So your first net action, you jack into the system. And in this example, we're going to say our netrunner wants to get to a control node as quickly as possible because of extenuating circumstances that I'm not going to go into. So, moving freely, because movement does not take any net actions, they can keep going. Once they enter the net architecture, the first thing they would see is a password. For the purposes of this explanation and to have time move quickly, we're going to say our netrunner successfully cracks the password and moves on. Bringing them to the next floor, where we now get a couple of black ice. Dun dun dun! To encounter a black ice, our netrunner rolls interface and what is it, D10? Is that it? Plus any speed bonus?
Plus any, but is it speed? Yeah, speed.
Yeah, because speedy, right?
Yeah.
I don't netrun, can you tell? So, Games, can you roll for our skunk? You're gonna roll a D10 plus 4, and Giffy, if you could roll for our killer, you're gonna roll a D10 plus 8.
Uh-oh.
It's either really good or really bad.
Blank, what did you get?
You said my interface is a 4?
Yes.
7.
Okay. So we'll say you encounter the skunk first. Sorry, I forget you had to roll twice. So Games, what did you get?
Alright.
A 6.
So you
nice.
barely evade the skunk. And if you could roll again for the killer, I'm so sorry, I forgot you had to roll twice.
Blank.
Oh, she said Giffy. That's fine. 8.
Okay. And Giffy?
I got a 19.
Nice. So he gets hit
By the killer.
by the killer. Takes a bunch of damage. I don't remember what the killer does. That's not important in this situation. Continuing on, because again, Blank's character just wants to keep going. They're just going to keep moving. So that's how it normally works. So let's talk about stealth netrunning. So I'm going to give me a moment while I reset most of this. Should be able to do it in a click of a button.
Just Control Z everything.
There we go. So, this time, when Blank logs in, right? Now, action number 1 is to jack in. If you want to jack in stealthily, you have to use a second net action. And you're going to roll a contested interface check against all watchers in the architecture. Watchers are any entity with an interface rank, so demons, enemy netrunners, etc. For the purposes of this demonstration, Blank succeeds this check, otherwise showing you this is not
I
going to
got
do
a
anything.
13 on the rolls.
Fantastic!
Nice.
You definitely succeeded. Is it just it's just not a contested interface check? That's not right.
For what?
My notes are wrong. Oh no, it
For
isn't.
the
It's just a
stealth?
contested
Yeah, it is. It's
interface
just-
check. No, my notes are right. Never mind.
Although I would say you should
Interface plus
be
D10.
cloak. Right?
No, however, that will come into play in a moment.
I know it comes into play, but
So it's just basic interface
fine.
plus D10. That's all. Now our netrunner isn't going to know if there's any watchers or how many watchers are in the system. That's still GM knowledge. All they know is that they succeeded or failed. If they fail, they'll know real fast. For now, they know they've succeeded because no alarms have sounded. They're going to continue to move forward. So again, they're going to do just fine moving past the password because demonstration. But now they get to the black ice, and things work a little differently. Because they are stealthing, the black ice are going to use perception instead of speed. And as you can see, for both the skunk and the killer, their perception is significantly less. It's like half as good, which is a boon for our netrunner. So I'm going to have Games and Giffy roll for a black ice. You're going to use your perception instead of speed. And then blank is a netrunner. You're going to roll your interface. Any bonuses to cloak, not speed, and your d10. Twice for me, please. Games,
Actually,
what
I don't-
games? What
Sorry,
did you
I-
roll?
I got a 6,
Okay,
which is hilarious because I got a 6 before.
you did. It's a higher roll, but still the same number. Blank. What was your first roll?
11.
So you successfully.
Yeah.
The skunk does not, may sniff around,
No, you're there.
but it doesn't seem to notice you. And Giffy,
I'm sorry, 10 plus what?
perception, so 4.
-3.
Cool, blank. Did you beat a -3?
I did 10.
Awesome. So, because both of those black ice failed, blank is to continue on unimpeded. Next, he reaches the file. Now, as far as viruses and files are concerned, you can interact with them without breaking your stealth. Now, if you drop a virus, which of course has to be at the base level, but if you drop a virus and it's super flashy and it's going to change the architecture right away, they're going to notice. If you leave it on a delay, probably good, so long as you lock checkout before then. So we'll say, because again, we're rushing, we don't want to, spend our time getting the file, maybe we'll grab it later. We're going to continue on the net architecture. The next thing I have is a Hellhound, who has both a perception and speed of 6. So, games, can you roll me for the Hellhound, and blank if you would like to roll against, please.
I got a 19.
Blank.
Ooh. 18. Damn.
So close. So close. And yet, blank now
So far away.
has a Hellhound, and because stealth is officially broken, the demon, the imp, is also aware of his presence.
Oh.
Yeah. So from
That
this
means
point
banners.
forward, everything in the net architecture you continue to encounter as though you normally would. But because you continue to encounter as you normally would, and he already bypassed the skunk and the killer, nothing happens with those. He's fine. Even if he was unsafely jacked out, they don't do damage because he technically never encountered them. So in that part, you're safe. Once you can stealth past, you're good. However, once they know you're there, the jig is up. There are a few things that automatically will break your stealth. Taking control of, or taking possession of a control node, that will break your stealth. Interacting with directly a black ice or any other sort of, or a watcher of any kind, will automatically break you out of stealth. So if Blank had chosen to, even though he's stealth by, if he had chosen to attack one of those black ice, stealth is completely broken. Now, if a Blank had successfully stealth past the Hellhound and then moved to the Imp, then a quiet little battle would have taken place where the Watcher would roll an interface and a cloak check and their d10 versus the Blank's Netrunner's, or sorry, not cloak check, Pathfinder check. Any bonus from a Pathfinder check versus Blank's interface, cloak bonus, and d10. So they still get a silent battle, and he could sneak past more if there was more and he wasn't taking control of that control node. If there was deeper architecture, you could, in theory, move past that imp. So that's stealth netrunning. Are there, for the most part, there's one more thing that I'm going to point out, but for the most part, how stealth netrunning works Do we have any questions?
No, I think honestly they've made it pretty straightforward. They've given enough benefit for doing it, but it doesn't break the game, that it makes sense.
Yeah,
But there's
still
also
get caught.
inherent risk.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a cool system. I'm super glad that they added this.
Is it as complicated as you believed it to be?
I think it's hard to pull off, yeah. The initial check against all the... Well, I guess when I was thinking Watchers, I was thinking all of the black ice in the system, so it actually makes it a lot less complicated than I thought.
No, it's just that initial
not
do
the,
they see me?
demons plus system admins or whatever.
Now here's the trick, however, which I didn't include during this demonstration. Each turn, a watcher in the net can use a net action to make a Pathfinder check to search for hidden enemies. The roll is the same as if they countered one another, so it's still going to be for blank for a Netrunner. It's still going to be interface plus any bonuses to cloak plus a d10 versus interface any bonuses to Pathfinder plus a d10. But one net action would be used to search for hidden enemies. If they spot you, stealth is broken and everything is alerted. Now, this isn't just important for Netrunners breaking into a building, but if you have your own home-based security system, please remember that your demons, or if you yourself as the Netrunner are manning it, can also do this and search for hidden enemies.
Can you only do that once per turn?
Once per turn.
That seems more balanced. Yeah, no, I like this system a lot. I think it's cool.
The last thing I will point out is, can you, if there's a question of can you reestablish stealth? Short answer, yes. Long answer, the only way to do it is to jack out and then jack in stealthily once again. So you'd have to repeat the whole process. You'd start back at the top, like back at the beginning of the net architecture, and have to stealth your way
Resets.
all the way through. Now, any damage that you've done, like if there was especially an admin or an enemy netrunner in the system and they caught you, probably alarms are sounding in the building and the damage in meat space is likely already done. There's nothing you can do about that. It also says that if you try to stealth back in like mere seconds after jacking out, the GM can assign a penalty to your stealth check since you were just caught.
It's kind of on high alert already.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Probably best to just go through at that point. Just keep going.
Do it the hard way.
That's how stealth net running works. I think it's really great. I think it's as a GM personally, if I have a net architecture and it's a large one, I'd probably have certain things pre-rolled just to make my life easier. Because those numbers aren't going to change, right? There is something beautiful about like having the rule happen in the moment, but that initial check, that initial like just D10 plus interface, probably roll that just to save myself one extra roll. This is not really going to matter, you know, succeed or fail, because every roll then in the net architecture, those I'd probably roll individually.
But the initial.
But the initial, did they succeed? Yes, no? Like checkbox? That number I can have pre-rolled.
If you don't want to do like rolling it in advance, you could always just take the average plus one, like the halfway point of the D10, so 5 to 6.
Half round up.
Possible. Yeah. Yes. No, yeah.
Since that's how
not round,
rules
not round
do it,
up,
like,
it's plus one.
well, rules written generally like half round up, right? For anything that's
But if
average.
it's even, round up doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
That's right,
But,
then
like,
it's just half.
No, then it's 6. That's,
Yeah.
that's what it's supposed to be. Generally.
I would just I would just do it half, and if it's odd, round up. Like, but alternatives, either way, there you go. Stealth nut running, have fun. Remember, you at a home base or in your own system can do this as well. You can be the enemy netrunner that everyone fears. And maybe make sure that you program that into your demon if you're having a demon watch the system.
It's been one of its actions.
It's been one of its actions to search for an enemy netrunner every like 10 seconds.
I think that's a good.
Maybe just a thought. I can't see it doing like every 3 seconds, but maybe every like couple
Why not?
turns. Depends on what it has to do.
More randomly.
As long as it's not doing anything important.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's it for my section. We're going to move on to the new gear.
Yeah, enough of these nerds. Now you're gonna listen to me. No, okay, alright. So let me start by saying that, like, I'm so super excited for this entire DLC because it is all important stuff. Even, like, the boring lore was good, and the useless net running stuff was good. Like,
I like that you only targeted the sections I talked about. Thanks, buddy.
right. But this DLC, 100% banger. Like, okay, last DLC we talked about, I was like, I went into it not excited at all because I thought it was going to be dumb and then fell in love with it. This DLC, like, from start to finish, I knew, like, every word was going to be important. I'm not going to show all of the gear the same amount of respect we usually do and just read it out to you. I'm going to give you brief overviews on it and their costs, but if anyone has questions, feel free to ask in chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube, in the comments. I'm sure somebody will answer the questions. But you can also just download this and look for yourself because it's free. But anyway, these are all equipment that I have needed and requested in game, pretty much. I can think, well, okay.
Requested?
I have needed and or requested. One of them in huge particular. But, alright, so starting at the top, we got binary compound, which is basically two completely inert substances that are like in tubes. But when combined, they become explosives. Kind of. They're built to get through, like, cover. They get through solid objects. They're not really built to damage other people. And it says in there, it takes 6 seconds for it to, applying it and for it to combine. But then once it does, it can cover a 2 meter by 2 meter section, and it does 66 damage per round.
This isn't an explosive, though. This is an acid.
Yeah, but it's like thermite, where you can just like eat through something,
Maybe.
which is great for penetrating. Like, how helpful would this have been on the bullet mission?
Without damaging the gear inside, yeah.
Yeah, to get
Or
through,
breaking
like, the doors,
into any building?
right? This is amazing, and I love
Yeah.
it. And I
Yeah.
hate it. So
There, I
the
can
scams
see a lot
continues-
more security cameras in our future to prevent
Right,
us from
yeah.
just breaking through walls.
Well, and I will discuss something here in a second that is important to mention on this, but so the damage continues for 18 seconds or 6 rounds after it's applied, and then it's done and over with, which is amazing. Yeah, it's only 50 EB per tube, which is awesome. You can totally afford this. On that note, I'm going to say there is a side note here that says that the rarity of something kind of affects its price. Just because a fixer can get something cheaply, that does not mean they'll sell it to you cheaply, because it might be a giant pain in the ass for them to get their hands on, because you might only be able to get it from Militech, and they would not be happy with fixers selling it on the streets. So there are some things that, even though it doesn't cost a lot, it's worth a lot of money. So, that being said. second thing, branded jumpsuits. Every time I pretend to be a character, I have needed this. Basically, these are just outfits that help you blend in. And, like, every time I'm like, I need a janitor's uniform. Like, this is effectively what I was asking for. And they've got different price points on them for, like, if it's a low facility, it's only 50 EB, all the way up to the extreme mega corporation security, which is 1,000 EB for a jumpsuit, which seems crazy, but would be so incredibly helpful, like, to just blend in, because, like, who's going to look at the janitor in the corner of the room? As long as they look like they belong there, they're set. And this is amazing. I'm glad that it's codified in the rules instead of me just trying to piece together disguises. Concealment sleeve.
Hang on.
Just
Before we go into that, so the branded jumpsuit is the first one where the cost does not equal the price category. The price category is higher, which means it is harder to source.
Yeah.
So especially if you want that $1,000 whatever jumpsuit you're
janitor.
looking for, it's going to be a lot harder to find a fixer who can get it for you, or it's going to take them a lot longer to get that. Also, not limited to like janitor. Any sort of employee. So if you needed a, I don't know, NCPD uniform to maybe take part in a raid, branded jumpsuit.
Right, this would be the place to go. And I would say that's probably moderate security, which is only 100 EB.
But it's going to take a while to get, still. Because 100 EB, you can pick up, you don't need a fixer for that. However, the cast category says you need a fixer for that.
Yeah.
So.
So the next one, the concealment sleeve. Basically, this is if like, because everybody's got like pouches on them and like in their cyberware and stuff, like scanners are going to look through your gear to see what you have. But these are basically like a real skin patch that you can put over something to make it not show up on scanners, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was saying it right. They are custom fit to the person and to the limb. So, like, if you damage it, if it gets ruined in any way, you're buying the whole thing all over again. And they are not easy or cheap to come by. They are 500 EB, and I would imagine your fixer is going to hang you out as far as how long it takes them to get that made for you. So, but it's super awesome because you can cover non-biological stuff with something that is going to pass as biological. So,
not only that, it's a fixer has to find it, and then I believe the system attack needs to custom fit it to you. So that's two different prices you're looking at. Heroic makes a good point because you can't just chainsaw it off an enemy that has one, because it will not fit you after it's fitted. I mean, if you roll a place that has just unfitted sleeves, sure. But a fitted one. Now, something that's not mentioned in the DLC that I think I would GM, I've seen questions for it, is what about pop-up weapons? Do they still work with a sleeve?
I think they damage it.
As a GM, that's how I would rule it. Is sure it will, but once it pops up, it damages the sleeve.
Yeah.
And it's rendered useless at that point, right? It tears.
Yeah, it's like a whole pop-out weapon.
Even for
type of thing.
even for Moxie's
on a different one.
cyber
Tools
hand,
and stuff. Yeah.
I would say it would be an action to remove her sleeve if she had to access her smuggler's hand compartment. But if I wanted to use, like, I feel like my mic, there may be a quality issue, like maybe have me roll if I want to use it. It's just a film, so it may be more muffled, but I could still use it. However, my one-shot special would damage the sleeve from my finger gun, and I would need to get that repaired. And because for this specific thing, the price category is one higher, even if you got a tech to repair it, it's going to cost you the same thing as getting a new one.
Yeah. Do you think I could get one of these concealment sleeves for my jaw? So I can still do stealth missions?
We can talk about something custom.
Yeah. Alright. I have a
could
sleeve
also
for like
put,
my
like,
neck.
Oh, just a
Real
real
skin?
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
You
but
could
I
replace the
want to
plastic
have
with real skin.
it's part of my image to have the red jaw, but when I'm doing stealth missions, I kind of need to not have a red
Get
jaw.
like swappable.
I
jaw
think
plates.
there might be
Yeah,
something
jaw
else
plates.
in this DLC that you could
Totally.
potentially use for
What? What would that be? All right.
that. I don't know. We'll wait and see when we
Find
get
out.
there.
So next up, we're talking about a handprint glove. This is amazing because, as terrible as fingerprint sensors are, they are still everywhere in Night City because they're cheap. Is there hydrate? Thank you very much.
And a posture.
Anyway, fingerprint scanners, super cheap, even though they're, easy to bypass, I suppose. But with handprint gloves, as long as you have a scan of the handprint, you can just touch it as if it was your real hand, and it will scan and be perfect. You will be fine. You have to have a scan of the real hand, though, so we move on to the next item, the handprint scanner, for another 20 EB. And I like that, the glove is $500, the scanner is $20, but the $500 glove is useless without the handprint scanner, and going through the effort of getting somebody's handprint, because that step is not easy anyway.
But the scanner's just an app.
It's true, but you know what I mean. How do you convince somebody, hey, hold still, I need to...
I'll let you explain it first, and then I'll give you my 2 cents.
Are you gonna knock people out with drugs again?
No, that actually was
Yes.
not my thought. But you could do. You could also choke them out. But that's different. That's still not my plan.
Fair enough. So in there, it does say that the app takes 9 seconds or 3 rounds to be able to scan somebody's hand, and that the action requires a brawling check of DV13 if the target is unconscious or otherwise unable to move. The user succeeds automatically. So knocking them out is the best bet.
It says also that the time doesn't have to be consecutive, so
Yes.
you can take a partial print and then come
Right.
back later.
Do it over 3 different rounds.
Yep. It
Yeah,
also.
but I think Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say if you're done.
Yeah.
It also says you can take partial prints. You need at least 5 to complete this. So if you maybe watch somebody and watch them go out to dinner, it would probably be fairly cheap to bribe a waiter to just pick up cutlery, plate, tablecloth, and bring it back to you, so you can scan before it goes into a washing machine.
Sure. And construct one complete print out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Or glass.
let's rewind for a moment back to that handprint glove. These, like the concealment sleeve, are custom ordered. You print that one handprint on that glove for 500 EB. So hopefully the scan you got is a real good scan. Moving on, laser microphone. This is great technology because
I need
there's
one. So bad.
There's still a lot of actual traditional windows in Night City. It's only 100 EB, and basically it bounces a laser off of the glass and can take the vibrations in the air and allow you to record conversations as long as you have line of laser sight. So, which is super helpful. It does run into problems with bulletproof glass and thicker glass, but thin bulletproof glass, it can still read the conversation. So.
Oh, so it doesn't record. You can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it, but anything you can hear, you can
I'm sure
record.
you could just.
Yes. You just as a clarification that the item, the piece of
apologize.
gear itself, does not
Does not
automatically record it.
record. Yeah,
You can, of course, record anything you hear, but
right.
that's not a
Basically,
feature of
it's
the gear.
like
Unless
wearing
maybe
the
you
head-
tech upgrade it to be a feature of the gear. I don't know. Go for it. As a GM, I allow it.
Talk to your GM. The coolest piece, I love all of this, don't get me wrong, but the coolest item that is described in here is this next one.
No, this last
But-
one.
It is fair enough, but it is silly. Kind of. So it's the Militech M97 Ghost Suit. It costs 5,000 EB. It is very, very, very expensive. But if the wearer remains still for 1 minute or 20 rounds, they can activate a cloak that hides them from all visual sensors, including low light vision, infrared, UV, unless the sensor passes a DV-17 check. Activating the cloak doesn't require an action. It just takes standing still for a full minute. The cloak deactivates if the user moves further than 2 meters or 1 square within 3 seconds or 1 round. So you could only move 1 square at a time to keep it active. But while it's active, it is very hard to see you, which is amazing. I love that.
Very cool.
No.
Right?
Great for snipers.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Especially like if you're not going to be moving anyway, just like boom. So then we have the Nymph perfume, which is 500 EB a bottle, and I love that this is a callback to something that existed before but was not very realistic. But they were like, they even mentioned in here that like, yeah, it turns out that it was a bunch of baloney. It just is basically, it's like an aphrodisiac that can help you a little bit, but like in the original one, there's like it stimulates the sexual centers of the brain. Like, yeah, it was amazing. But spritzing it on any surface, it lingers for an hour, and anyone who spends more than 9 seconds or 3 rounds within 6 meters of the source of the perfume has to succeed at a DV-13 torture drug check. Otherwise, they take a -2 penalty to human perception checks for the next hour. A person who is wearing the perfume is considered to be within 6 meters of themselves for this purpose. So you know. Though nasal filters and anti-smog breathers do help you from having to breathe it in. But you can buy a bottle of this stuff for 500 EB, and it has 50 spritzes in it. So one bottle is going to last forever. So
Great for like subtle conversations, so long as you yourself can handle the
right.
perfume.
Or you have somebody further away that's like in charge of paying attention to what's going on. You have an adult, you're like, all right, I'm going to have no human perception, but if you can pay attention to what's going on right now, I would love that.
That would be a game solution. No, I like that it puts in the potential for combo there.
Right.
Nasal filters. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm almost done, I promise. And we can go through a couple of these last ones pretty quickly. Parabolic mic. Basically, it amplifies sound in a specific direction, allowing the user to hear up to 30 meters away, as if they were directly near the source. Basically, it's a shotgun mic. They're amazing, but you also have to be facing the specific thing you're trying to listen to. Super cheap, though. I mean, kind of. They're 100 EB, and I would imagine those are not something that are difficult to get a hold of.
What is the cost category?
Premium.
That's the same.
Yeah.
I will say I would love for... Sorry, are you done or are you moving on?
No, I'm done. Go for it.
I would love for Moxie to get both of these mics because they play so well into her media type of investigation, which, despite how Gojira operates, she does try to be stealthy. But like the laser mic from 300 meters away? Are you kidding? Conversations I could overhear and record?
Right.
And the parabolic mic is great because it goes through the other thing with the laser mic is it has to be through glass.
Yeah.
But the parabolic mic, any sort of wall is fine. So if you can stealth into like the room next door from where a conversation is taking place, or say if you were in a casino and a conversation was taking place in a back room right next to you, if you had this mic, you could hear what they were saying. And then wouldn't need to make deals with gang leaders to get a copy of that conversation.
They're not super discreet, however.
No.
Either of these. I can imagine you in the casino, like, playing, roulette or whatever you're playing, and then you put on, like, big headphones and pull out this microphone. What are you doing? It's a luck thing. Next up, we have the professional disguise kit, which I think is amazing, and I need one of those.
This one would help with your jaw.
Yeah, actually, it would be helpful.
This is the gear I was thinking of.
I can see why. So with it, it adds a +2 to your personal grooming checks to appear as someone else. There are limits. Of course, you can't make yourself several feet taller or 6 inches shorter, but you can, with illusion, make yourself seem a little bit bigger or smaller. And, you can seem larger. It's real hard to seem smaller, though. But you can, obviously, do some things to help that. But basically, this just gives you a bonus when trying to disguise yourself. So, which is amazing. I often am trying to disguise myself for various reasons.
This could also be used to, especially in conjunction with, I think it's called the poser chip. I could be wrong. I can't remember exactly. Where as long as you record someone for X amount of time, you develop their speech patterns and their mannerisms. So if you wanted to impersonate someone, great.
This would be super helpful. Yeah.
Plus the glove.
Plus the glove. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And the next thing we're about to talk about.
This next one. Yeah.
So, just like the glove we talked about before, is the retina lenses. Eye scanners are still a thing in the future, and they're more reliable than fingerprint scanners. So we are given retina lenses to cover your eyes with their eye patterns, so you can get through those things and don't have to cut people's eyes out. And of course, there's the accompanying retinal scanner. Both kind of have the same limitations, though. You have to get the scan of the thing that you need before, and then have the thing made for you. And once again, it costs 500 EB for these lenses, so they're not super cheap. The scanner, however, is only 50 EB, 30 EB more expensive than the handprint scanner, but at least it's more affordable, I guess. It does take 15 seconds or 5 rounds, so this takes longer to do the scan, but the same, Brawl 13 check is the same, and yeah, so that's pretty much everything you need to know as far as that goes.
And again, it does not have to be consecutive. Can be broken up. Mm-hmm. And also, I was so glad that they added that, not to forget, this can be a cyber eye option.
Mm-hmm.
So you can scan people with cyber eye, or you can put that as a something in the smart glasses.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, so you can just look like that, if you wear glasses and it's fine, and there's a chance they will never know you're scanning their iris.
That's awesome.
Or the retinal. So.
Yep. Which I think is easier than the handprint as far as that goes.
I feel like you could do that easier without knocking them out. Yes.
Right. Next up is the translation chip. They're incredibly expensive. It costs 1,000 EB, and it has a related humanity loss of 7. Basically, it is a chip. It requires a Chiron to use.
Jess here. As I was editing the video, I wanted to make a correction to this part, as it has come to my attention between the airing of this episode on Twitch and the video release on YouTube. Jay Gray made a clarification of the translation chip. He said, "This has come up multiple times now, so I wanted to clarify. The translation chip from Going Quiet translates multiple languages into a pre-chosen language. They aren't set to one language translation only." Meaning, they will have more than one language that translates onto your Chiron visibly as text into a predetermined language. Now, that language may not be a language you know. It could translate a bunch of languages into Japanese. It could translate a bunch of languages into Spanish. Whatever your cultural origin language that you chose at character creation, it could translate into that. If you pick one up off the street, it still might not be useful to you. However, getting this translation chip is way more helpful at 1000 EB when it translates all language that you hear, apart from, again, any dead language or uncommon languages and dialects per the GM's discretion, into whatever language has been pre-chosen. So it can only translate into one pre-chosen language, but does translate all languages. Thank you so much, Jay, for pointing that out and clarifying the rules.
I like it as a precursor to the tech that's in the video game.
Yeah.
In 77 video game.
And then last up, I have the Zetatech Tank Commander headset, 100 EB. It is a wraparound throat microphone that attaches to an earbud. It can be linked wirelessly to your agent or radio. It detects sound that is incoming or outgoing of a stealth headset. Oh, it is detecting sound that is incoming or outgoing of a stealth headset is impossible without some type of amplified hearing.
Regardless, it's still really cool, and I think our entire team needs.
We definitely need these. We need a lot of gear that's
true.
in this DLC.
This is the last piece of gear that is on my list. I went into a little more detail on it than I meant to, but I love this DLC. Everyone should pick it up. Even if you don't end up using anything out of it, it is worth it. And you should probably use things out of it, I'm just saying. This really helps flesh out a better stealth style character than I think was possible before this came out. At least with like out GM interference.
Honestly,
And-
this DLC is dope.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm really glad they released this as a much needed addition, honestly.
Yeah, they
I
had
have
a-
Quinn wish list now.
What is on
It-
Quinn's wish list?
This. Sorry.
Sorry, what is on Quinn's wish list?
Quinn's wish list, the Zetatech Commander headset and the Ghost suit are definitely on the top of the list.
Fair.
The binary compound is also something you would have a lot of fun with. So, if you're looking for Christmas presents for Quinn, those are some good options.
Christmas is a long way away, my friend.
We'll probably all be dead by then.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
What is, as for Wraith, I guess, for you as a player for this DLC, what are you most excited to use?
All of it.
Specifically, please.
No, this isn't a question you can ask me.
Well, you said not net running mechanics, because...
Right, yeah, nobody needs that. No, I just don't usually run netrunners. I think that what they added for netrunning is amazing and super helpful. And if I ever played one, I would be so stoked for this. And still am fairly stoked for somebody who doesn't care about netrunners.
How do you think will this change? Probably not, maybe not for Wraith, but how planning for missions goes forward?
I think this will have a big impact, or should at least have a big impact. If you as a group decide that, this isn't something you're using, that's one thing. But if this exists in your world, you have to take into consideration that, yeah, our network could have somebody hiding on it. We need to make sure that they don't.
Sorry, not just for netrunning, for all of this with Gears, with you who play
Oh.
Wraith, because on one hand, Wraith likes to bullshit his way into situations, but Wraith is also very chaotic and will just also run headfirst into a place without warning. So having this stealth options, does that change any things
It
you'd like to
changes
do or
everything.
things
The
you'd like
hand
to see?
scanner, the retinal scanner, all of this allows you to better impersonate a person and to infiltrate places that you are not supposed to be. It adds a whole new world of interest to it. It's a lot easier to get through a door with biometrics if you have the key on you. I would say the least helpful thing for me personally would be the nymph perfume, but everything else, flash of luck, all of it is
I
incredible.
think you're underestimating that perfume.
Yeah. 100%.
I said it was the worst thing on a list of things that are amazing. That doesn't mean that it's bad.
I don't know.
Giffy, is this going to change how you approach situations in game?
For Quinn, probably not. I think his ultimate approach is if it's in his way, get rid of it. So I don't think he's going to change much how he does things. The ghost suit would definitely that would change him. If he had that, he would probably be doing more sniper missions. He would be a sniper more often, which seems to be kind of starting to be his role anyway. But yeah, that's probably the only thing that would change how he operates.
So big question, Blank, for you as a GM. How does this new DLC inspire or change how you plan gigs moving forward?
Yeah, it helps me think of the types of obstacles to put in your guys' way, because now you have clear methods to get around them. Also gives some good countermeasures as well. In case you guys ever do set up a net architecture, that sounds great. But also the recording. I mean, these things can be used against you guys as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's a lot of possibility in here. Super excited about the stealth, but Netrunning clearly will be nice to have another option. Because there's always that question whether, okay, so it's obvious that the demon knows you're there because it automatically knows when a person's in. But why hasn't it alerted the whole fucking building? Now it
Just
can.
set off the alarm.
Now I can and feel guilt-free about having it alert the whole building.
Like there was any guilt previously.
For that in particular, there was, because there was no way for you to do a stealth. Yeah, there was no way for you to do a stealth net run. It was just you go in and the whole thing. So I didn't make the demon go tell the security office hey, people are here. But now I can.
Yeah.
That
Jess?
doesn't sound good.
Same question to you. What new worlds do you see?
RUK, so many. I absolutely love, as someone who loves puzzle solving in any way, shape, or form, making missions that are based on it's essentially a puzzle. How do you do this stealthily is a way of solving a puzzle. So if I look at a mission, a past mission, man, there's which one could I use? I feel like Jackal's Lantern could have gotten differently. If we could have gotten a handprint or a retinal scanner, what do we need in order to get into this building and done that more with a stealth or a higher stealth component than just walking in and talking. Because that changes what type of information you're gathering.
The node too.
Yeah, I was gonna say at the Nail Me salon, and when we were at the construction place, those net architectures, so much easier.
I'm not.
The countermeasures.
I mean, yes, net architectures, but for me, netrunning is always if there's going to be a netrun, there's going to be a netrun, right? I'm not going to necessarily build my mission based on a net architecture for stealthing. I'm going to base it on what do my players have to do,
Right.
So upcoming, I guess I'll Spoiler for Shades of Scarlet. If you guys are not caught up or have not seen it, this is the Saves for Death long-running actual play campaign. So we have to get into New Sat. One of our goals is to get into New Sat. Before this DLC came out, I didn't have a lot of avenues. It was maybe sneak in, maybe capture Bill and steal his keycard, get some information. With this DLC, Moxie can sit on a rooftop like 3 blocks away, point a laser mic in a window, and listen for days on end, maybe to their conference room for any hint of conversation.
And Wraith can dress as a janitor.
She could dress up with the disguise kit to look like Stylen J. Johnson. If I can get her handprint and her retinal scan, chances are I could walk into that building. And suddenly this one gig of like, how do we stealth into this building is broken up into a bunch of smaller gigs to get these things. And with Hope Reborn, because there was a heist in that one, you can do it as a montage. It doesn't need to be like a full gig mission where it's like, okay, this is your goal, you need to get, retinal scan, you need to get a handprint, and you need to steal this key card. You split it up into buddy systems and do that montage thing. You still have to roll your skill checks. You still have to see if you succeed. But you could do it that way as a heist, which would be breaking into the building, mission. And all of a sudden that entire mission changes. Would I have used NCPD to break into the Nook with all this new thing to gather information from Blue? I don't know that I would have. I might have tried to do it a different way. We have options now. So I think just creating gigs and approaching situations now that you have more stealthy options changes the entire playing field.
Absolutely.
For
And
sure.
with Flash of Luck, if you run into something that you're like, oh, I didn't account for this, there you go. Still covered.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I mean, we could have gotten jumpsuits for the construction company that's rebuilding the Nook, and we could have walked like this wasn't a thing.
I know, it's not even something that's really thought about. You guys even attempting. But then again, I usually never know what you really want to do.
So I think I don't know, it's going to change how I approach things because it opens up new avenues. I'm very, very excited.
Yep.
I'm gonna need so much more closet space for jumpsuits, though.
I like that you assume that your jumpsuit isn't going to get wrecked during the mission. And you'll be able to keep it.
I'm gonna pre-purchase a
Just
whole
gonna get a
bunch
bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah.
He would.
What do I need today? Oh, I'm a Girl Scout. I'm selling cookies.
You know what? You would get the most ones that would not work in any situation except for one very specific.
Right.
Yep. Sorry, LCC has a question. How do you see biosculpting slotting into the infiltration stealth toolbox with these new tools? Since before now you needed to biosculpt in order to impersonate someone on a deeper level than makeup and dressing up as them. I mean, you always could have attempted it, right? It would have just been a wardrobe style. Now with the disguise kit, you get a bonus to it.
Right.
I still think that biosculpting or the faceplate, especially if you have someone with a faceplate a disguise kit may or may not work. And especially I think it says, it's not going to give you fully functional, it's not going to make you look like you have 5 fully functional cyber eyes.
Yeah.
That biosculpting and even cybernetic enhancements still have their place, depending on who you were trying to.
Those are
Yeah,
body
you
double.
still might need
best
to
of the best.
biosculpt certain features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe they have a really strange looking jaw or something.
Maybe they got an elf biosculpt package and it's going to take a little bit more than some extra pointy ears to
Yeah.
pass off.
This just honestly is kind of a stopgap between saying that you're making a disguise, and biosculpting. This is like that middle ground of like, no, I'm actually putting effort into disguising myself instead of, doing closet cosplay for Halloween. This is like purchasing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think that biosculpting, as if I was GMing a game, if you're going to go through the cost of biosculpting, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to detect that you're not the actual person than someone who bought a $100 kit off the street.
For sure. But it very much still has a place in the world.
Good question.
Yeah, for sure.
Really good question. Well, I believe that's all our thoughts on the DLC, unless there's something else someone wants to add, or more questions from chat.
I am good. I want to say thank you, Jess, for having me, and thank the audience for you guys showing up. We
Thank
love
you guys for joining us. Blank, since games did at the start, why don't you let people know about Saves vs. Death, where they can find you, and what's upcoming?
Sure. Right now, Saves vs. Death, tabletop action play and podcast, airs every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Is running a Western Cyberpunk game called, what is it, Lonely Tree or something?
Yes.
Lonesome Dove? I don't remember.
The Lonely Tree.
The Lonely Tree.
Huh?
The
Is
Lonely
Lonely
Tree.
Tree? Oh, I said it right. Okay. Ran by our very own Games here. That'll be going for the next few weeks, and then we'll pick back up with our long-running game, Shades of Scarlet, in our perhaps the final chapter. We'll see what happens.
Knowing how we do things, though, we've got another like.
It's gonna be a long chapter. It's gonna be a long chapter.
3 more seasons at least.
But yeah.
Very cool. Head to twitch.tv/savesversedeath. Give them a follow, and also on that page you can find the link to the Discord. So go and join the Discord as well, where you can hang out with us when we're off stream. That will conclude this episode of Night City Sofa. Thank you to my lovely guests for being here and joining me for this one. I appreciate you guys and all your insights. Always so lovely to have you.
Of course.
To those of you watching, thank you for joining us today. Please let me know what part of the DLC you're the most excited to explore in your games or future games or what have you. And until next time, stay frosty.